Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I am GebboTheShaman.com and, well, Gebbo the Shaman, and you can go to GebboTheShaman.com to purchase any readings from me. I do astrology readings. I also have an astrology course that I offer. And so yeah, welcome to my channel, welcome back if you've been here before. And today we're talking about what happens when we have the moon placed in Scorpio in the 8th house for Aries Ascendant. Well, I'm a Vedic astrologer, not a Western astrologer, so that's something that you need to know. Because Western astrology is inaccurate by 24 degrees. So wherever you think you have your planets placed, it's not actually there, which makes it inaccurate. So I get a lot of people from Western astrology using Western astrology, and yeah, it's yeah. I could go on a whole tangent about that. Um, Basically, I've done videos in the past where I talk about the differences between Western and Vedic and all that stuff. So, yeah, let's get into this video. So, all right, so, um, if we have our moon in Scorpio in the 8th house, what happens? Well, first we gotta break down each part of this because we have the moon, we have Scorpio, and we have the 8th house. So those are different energies coming into the same, coming in contact with each other. So, first off, to begin, the moon is the mind. And when I say the mind, it's not the thinking mind, it's not the analytical mind, it's not the mathematical computation mind. That's the intellect. The mind is actually the heart mind. The feelings, the emotions, all that stuff. So, when we're talking about the mind, it's how you think, it's your psychology, it is how you feel about things, it's the perspective through which your thoughts and feelings are coming through. So then we have, the moon also relates to water. It's a watery planet. And it also is the planet of your mother. So your relationship with your mother, which oftentimes, 99%, your mother is the person who imprints on you. So your psychological blueprint for who you are and your value and your place in the world all comes from your mother. And so it's, so the moon represents your mother, represents your mind, represents your feelings. The moon is nurturing, loving. It's the motherly energy. So, and then we have the sign of Scorpio. Now, Scorpio is the 8th sign of the zodiac, pertaining to the 8th house. So, these energies are going to be quite similar. It's very similar energy. So, I'll talk about both, but yeah. So Scorpio is, what is it? It's birth, death, sex, transformation, sudden ups and downs, sudden gains and losses, sudden changes or transformations. So random, sudden events that happen in your life that change it. So car accidents, you struck it rich with the lottery. It doesn't have to necessarily be bad things. It tends to be, but it doesn't have to be. So you can strike it rich, or you can, go into debt, go into bankruptcy, car accidents, Scorpio is also the sign of surgery and surgeons and digging deep into the depths. It's deep psychology. It is, your unconscious mind, your subconscious mind, and those two are different. Unconscious is completely not aware of it. Subconscious is you want to remember your social security number, so you remember it and you have it in the back of your mind, so whenever you're filling out an employment application or whatever, you can write down your social security number, right? It's not what people think it is. People often say subconscious mind, meaning the unconscious mind, but that's not what it is. They're saying, oftentimes you'll hear people talking about the subconscious mind when they're talking really about the unconscious mind. So those are different. Those are totally separate things. Unconscious means you're not conscious of it, of these deep psychological programmings that you have in your head. The psychological makeup that you were imprinted with in childhood, and that you're, everything from your chart, from your karmas, your past karmas, your dharma, like everything sets your psychological makeup to be a certain way so that you do certain things and you have certain experiences in life, and this is what makes you who you are, yet you're totally unaware of it. You're totally running in the background. Totally unconscious. Conscious. Alright, so now that I've went on that tangent, Scorpio is surgeries. It's, as I said, psychology, unconsciousness, addictions. It is, eighth house matters, which are so the eighth house is your in-laws, your wife's or husband's family. So second house would be your own family. Seventh to that is your spouse's family. So we could apply that concept to anything. So, like, for example, if you wanted to find out about your wife's mother, then you go, your fourth house is your mother, 10th house is your wife's mother, or your spouse's mother, whatever. And that'll give you information about that without having to dig into the divisional charts. Alright, so Scorpio is, everything that I just talked about. And so 8th house not only represents the in-laws, it represents shared value. So shared joint investments, joint bank accounts, joint finances. Other people's money is basically what it is. And then we have the 8th house being the Dastana house. It is a Dastana house, which means that it is kind of a malefic house. And it can cause problems. It can give you, problems like, it's kind of a malefic house because it's one of those, as I said earlier, unstable houses. Very unstable. And unless we have like something like Saturn in here or some benefic planet in here to balance that energy out, it's going to remain unstable. So as I said, 8th house is it's pertains to surgeries and in-laws and joint finances and other people's money. And then we have the moon in here. So bringing this concept all together, bringing these concepts together, what happens when we have moon in Scorpio in the 8th house? Well, you know, it's an interesting combination because we have such different energies. We have the moon, which is the mind, the mother. Then we have this, like, serious, like, harmful area. And Scorpio and the 8th house is ruled by Mars. So when you think of moon and Mars combination, what do you think of? That would be mental illness. That would be self-harm, being violent, being angry, being just really, like, harsh on one's mind, like a serious mental illness, like, So this isn't true for everybody that has this placement. Like, several factors within your chart could give a different scenario. You could be a master surgeon. You could just dive in and do surgery very well. Or on the other hand, you could become a very deep psychologist. You could have that probing mind that really focuses on deep, like, unconscious stuff. So being a psychologist, you could be what do you call it? Psychiatrist. Because 8th house also has to do with like medicine and the things that we take, and it's like second from the 6th, which is like, or sorry, the third from the 6th. So yeah, anyway, so Scorpio, it's deep, it's dark, it's scary, it's all those things. So someone with this placement, their mind is wanting to dig deeper, to uncover things, to investigate, to search, to like get to the bottom of things, and so the journey with the Scorpio moon is harsh. It's harsh, and it is like, one with this placement will be hard on themselves. Like, when they judge when they figure out what their unconscious programming is, they'll be harsh on themselves to, like, remove that or be healed of that, or just stop acting in those old ways that they used to. And it has to do with, like, digging in deep to, like, psychology and things like that. And so, with this placement, we tend to see, like, a darker state of the moon. Like, I mean, even if the moon is full, it tends to be that more scorpionic, like, loving, like, digging into hidden knowledge or the occult or things like that. And it's really probing and searching, and it can really be this can really be great for research and for digging deep and investigating, being like a private investigator, things like that. And so, So with this mind, like so the thing to know about the moon, the mind, is that, as I've told pretty much every time I've talked about the moon, I've I've stated, like, you really have to pay attention to the moon's phase, the phases of the moon. So what the phase of the moon was when you were born. Go back and look at a lunar calendar for your birthday and see what the lunar phase was in. Was it a full moon? Was it a new moon? Was it, how much light did it have? And that will give you a indication of what your mental state will be like. So if it's like a new moon, that tends to be much darker, and this person can be very much not only depressed, but like having like psychosis, or like having where they see visions, or see or hear things, or things like that, like delusions, or like hallucinations, things like that. And so like it really has a propensity to have the unconscious fears, unconscious fears and things like that drive you. Like, you'll be driven by your fears or things like that. And so yeah, it's an interesting combination here, because it's like just so deep. And like, I mean, I really don't want to like talk bad, or like give you guys like the worst news about this placement, but because like, honestly, you can thrive with this placement. You can become like a great surgeon, or a private investigator, or criminologist, or things like that. And it really depends, like, on other planets, other conjunctions, other aspects to this placement. And so, even though I'm talking about this deep psychological stuff, it really can be a good placement, and work well for you. So that's my assessment of this. It's a hard one to do, because Scorpio is so deep, and like, there's things about the occult, about mysticism. People with this placement can be very skilled at tantric practices. So, rituals, occult, tantra, doing like being like a priest, or spiritually involved, but also like there's that bit of darkness in there. So maybe you have a propensity to be like a shaman or something, some kind of a transformative healer, or something like that. And the moon here gives you that ability to relate to people on that, like, emotional and psychological layer. And I mean, you could be a great psychologist, or counselor, or therapist. And so, yeah, it's it's interesting, like, how these things turn out, how these placements manifest in our lives. And like, every single chart is different, every single chart has different planets in different placements that could affect this, and so yeah, that's my assessment of this. So if you guys are interested, then I offer astrology readings, so you can go to my website, gebotheshaman.com. That's GEBO theshaman.com. Links to my products, services, courses, and everything are down. Are down below in the description. And yeah, other than that, you can see the things that I offer up here. These are my Qigong courses and my yoga courses, so you can check those out if you're interested. That's like the biggest transformative thing that I ever done in my life is Qigong and yoga, and the combination of that is just incredible. Of course, it's not like Hatha yoga, it's more Kundalini yoga. So we are, in those practices, really strengthening the Kundalini energy. Alright, guys, so other than that, that's it for me. GeboTheShaman.com. GEBOTheShaman.com. Alright, and other than that, we will talk to you next time. So, peace. Take care.